Australia, land of kangaroos and koalas, desolate desert and rich rainforests, ancient Aboriginal art, and the Great Barrier Reef, and the formidable international solar car race, the World Solar Challenge. Racing with the sun down under. The third triannual World Solar Challenge begins in the tropical seaport of Darwin, 12 degrees south of the equator, during November, Australia's early summer. The race travels 1,900 miles down the Stuart Highway, a rugged two-lane trucking route that bisects the island continent. Stuart Highway passes through one of the most remote and unpopulated wilderness areas on Earth. In Australia's harsh outback, air temperatures can reach 115 degrees and road temperatures 150. More of an endurance test than a race, the World Solar Challenge ends in the southern coastal city of Adelaide, 2 days after the first solar car finishes. But the World Solar Challenge is more than just a high-tech car race. It's a premier event that pushes the frontiers of solar technology, a learning experience that helps bring us closer to the utilization of a clean and renewable energy source. The University of Michigan has a strong commitment to solar technology. They are the two-time national champions of the U.S. Sun Race. And in 1990, Michigan's Sunrunner took third place in the World Solar Challenge. The 93 team of students has raised over $1 million to build Maize and Blue. To be more competitive in the World Solar Challenge, they upgraded their 93 car by replacing half of the solar cells with more efficient and expensive silicon solar cells. They also replaced the lead-acid batteries with high-efficiency silver-zinc batteries, and they shaved 150 pounds off Maize and Blue's total weight. The University of Michigan team has brought the best in U.S. technology to compete with some of the brightest engineers, scientists, students, and professionals in the world. Honda, a corporate research team with a $30 million budget, built not only one high-tech solar car, but 2 complete backup cars to race in Australia. The Swiss engineering school of Biel, the defending 1990 champion, has installed the newest direct-drive motors inside the hubs of the wheels of their car. These are the teams that everyone wants to beat. The other dimension of the World Solar Challenge is that it's an endurance test, not only for the fragile futuristic vehicles, but for the race participants as well. Each day, teams race from 8 to 5 with only a 10-minute media stop to break up the endless miles of barren landscape. At the end of the day, wherever they are in the remote outback, they must stop and set up camp. Only solar energy can be used to power the solar cars. Each morning and evening, teams charge their batteries, storing up energy for future use. All teams supply their own food and water, and good planning is a necessity. In the outback, the greatest threat to humans is dehydration. Maize and Blue's race caravan consists of 19 students and a support crew of 20 traveling in 8 vehicles. The pit crew and backup driver ride in the lead car, driving in front of Maize and Blue. The chase van follows close behind with the strategists, computers, and the official race observer. The semi-trailer is never far away, carrying a small machine shop, spare parts, and the team's essential water supply. Auxiliary personnel ride in 4 additional vehicles carrying food and camping supplies. It's a logistics challenge for the team to keep all the vehicles in working order, gassed up, and on schedule. 3 prerequisites determine eligibility for the World Solar Challenge. Solar cars must first satisfy size and safety requirements. Second, maintain an average minimum speed of more than 24 miles an hour during time trials. And third, remain under control while passing an Australian road train traveling in the opposite direction at 50 miles an hour. The University of Michigan passes all of its tests with flying colors. Maize and Blue wins the 5th place pole position with a qualifying time of 65 miles an hour. The Swiss Spirit of Biel breaks World Solar Challenge records, qualifying at 80 miles an hour. And Honda, right on their heels, qualifies at 78 miles an hour. With these speeds, past solar car records are sure to be broken. On November 7, 1993, the Michigan team rises at 3:30 a.m. to prepare for race day. By 6, they are ready and waiting at the starting line. Teams are making frantic last-minute adjustments to their cars. Others stand nervously, guarding their investments. At 8 a.m., under a scorching sun, 52 cars streak down Stewart Highway, beginning their transcontinental journey. Out of the 52 cars, 20 are from Japan, 10 from the United States, and 10 from Australia. 12 countries in all are represented here. Less than 90 minutes into the race, the field is strung out for more than 3 miles. Trouble strikes early for many cars. Team New England, a consortium including MIT, never makes it past the start. Several cars are sidelined within a mile of Darwin. The harsh outback sun drives temperatures up to 106 degrees. Honda sets a brisk pace of 53 miles an hour. Michigan drops from 5th to 7th position, but is still ahead of its major U.S. competitors, California Polytechnic at Pomona, California State University of Los Angeles, George Washington University, and Stanford. One unexpected event throws the team off, foreshadowing future problems. Team member Dan Ross explains.
Problems in that respect. The biggest mystery of the day was there was a bushfire and put a lot of smoke over the race route and cut the array power in half. That was the big trouble for the day.
At 5 p.m., the U of M caravan pulls into their campsite after driving 360 miles, 160 miles longer than the longest day in the U.S. sun race. Exhausted from their 14-hour day, but satisfied with Maize and Blue's overall performance, the team sets up for the evening charge to the batteries. On day 2, the team rises before dawn to begin the daily routine, charging the array, making breakfast and lunches, and packing up to be ready for the race start at 8 a.m. The thick morning cloud cover finally breaks as Maize and Blue drives into the media stop at Dunmara. Just minutes before, Pomona overtook Maize and Blue, dropping Michigan to 8th place. George Washington is only 10 minutes behind. The Michigan team struggles to figure out why they are losing ground. Entering the Tanami Desert, the team leaves behind the lush tropics of the north for the brown spinifex grass of the desert. Shortly before the end of the day, George Washington passes Michigan. Now in 9th place, the team realizes they have a serious power problem. The strategists conclude that the solar array is putting out 30% less power than it should be. After diagnosis, the problem appears to be that the metal tabs connecting the 9,000 solar cells that comprise the array are acting as resistors instead of energy conductors. The team speculates that the intense heat of the desert is breaking down the connectors. So much heat is being dissipated that Maize and Blue's power is nearly cut in half. This is a problem that cannot be fixed without destroying the solar cells. Team leader Furkan Naziri sums up the team's feelings.
It is difficult because we did have high hopes. This team's been a good team. We've always finished very well, and right now it looks like we're going to have a very tough time having a good finish in this race.
It's a bitter disappointment for the national champions, but at a solemn meeting that night, the Michigan team rallies and sets a new goal: to beat Sunrunner's World Solar Challenge record of 7 days. As morning dawns, wild horses graze nearby on the delicate desert grasses. 8 total teams have now dropped out of the race, but this only steels Michigan's determination to persevere. On day 3, Maize and Blue drives through the red center of the Australian continent, where temperatures soar to 113 degrees and the air is dry and parched. Late in the afternoon, Michigan pulls into the media stop in Alice Springs, the midpoint of the race. 2 more teams have now passed Michigan: Cal State LA and Australia's Northern Territory University. Camping that night is a further trial. Besides the oppressive heat, the bush flies are more aggressive than usual. The fine red clay dirt hangs in the air, infiltrating everything. In the evening, clouds move in and storms are seen in the distance. Inclement weather could minimize Michigan's array disadvantage and optimize their strong strategy team. The strategists use a sophisticated computer to calculate Maize and Blue's speed based on battery charge and weather conditions. The scout car monitors the weather with satellite receivers and antennas and travels several miles ahead of the caravan. The meteorologists in this car are constantly communicating the latest data to the strategists through high-powered VHF radios. Michigan's efficient strategy has helped keep Maize and Blue near the top 10 of the race, while many of their competitors are generating twice the amount of electrical energy. Early in the afternoon of the fourth day, Maize and Blue crosses into southern Australia, leaving behind the scrubland of the Red Desert and picking up the whirlwinds or willy-willies of the plains. There is a danger here of unfenced cattle and kangaroos wandering onto the highway. Cattle grids on the roads attempt to keep the stock off, but pose a serious risk to the thin solar car tires. The team's strategists are aided today by a strong sun, enabling Maize and Blue to average 40 miles an hour. Passing Cal State LA just before the media stop brings Michigan into 10th place, a minor victory. The team camps for the night just 530 miles from the finish line in Adelaide, nearly a day ahead of Sunrunner's 1990 pace. A dramatic bush sunrise begins day 5, though the cloud cover makes for a poor charge to the batteries. A busload of curious tourists stops to check out the futuristic car charging by the side of the road. Early in the morning, Maize and Blue passes the opal mines of Cooper Pedy. As the team heads further south, they pass by broad, flat savannas, salt lakes, and low mesas. Shortly after the media stop in Glendambo, Japan's B-Paul 3 passes Maize and Blue, pushing Michigan back to 11th place. And even more frustrating, several team members are struck with an intestinal flu, sending 4 to the hospital and incapacitating at least 10 others. By evening, only a skeleton crew remains to hold down Maize and Blue's array from the fierce winds and prepare for the next day. Michigan completed 335 miles today, despite the sickness and weak initial charge. It is a tribute to the team that mechanically, Maize and Blue is performing flawlessly. The top 5 cars completed the race today. Honda broke the World Solar Challenge record, finishing in 35 hours and averaging 53 miles an hour. Beal came in second just 3 hours later. After a grueling 5 days, Michigan is hoping to finish the race tomorrow. On day 6, again with little battery charge due to the clouds, the team carefully plans their strategy. But within minutes of starting, Maize and Blue hits rough road work, slowing them to a crawl. The team had hoped to pass B-Paul today, but 35 miles outside of Adelaide, traffic backs up. The Japanese car crosses the finish line 30 minutes ahead of Michigan, coming in 10th. At 1:15 p.m., an exhausted but fiercely determined University of Michigan team crosses the finish line, successfully beating Sunrunner's record by more than a day. 26 cars completed the 1993 World Solar Challenge, half the number that began the race. Maize and Blue beat 15 of them, some with professional crews and multi-million-dollar budgets. The Michigan team is disappointed with their 11th place finish, but vows to return, having learned more from this experience than the classroom could ever offer.
One thing I would like to mention is that in a project like this, where it's not only a race, it's also a learning experience. And to that end, I think every dollar spent and every hour invested is put to a very valuable end. And we've got 20 or 30 just fabulous engineers coming out of this project. And I think we're real proud of that, and I think our sponsors, the university, should be real proud of that.
In the end, the World Solar Challenge is about learning, teamwork, and the future. It's about harnessing the clean and natural power of the sun. And it's about working together to learn new ways to conserve our world's dwindling finite resources.